In this video, we're going to be talking about the fwrite function in C programming language, which is used for writing the binary data to the file stream. This function writes the data exactly like the way it appears in the computer memory. Now, if we talk about the syntax of this function, the name is fwrite, and then as the first parameter, we have to provide the pointer to the data that we want to write to the file. And then as the second parameter, we have to specify the size of the single item in bytes. And then we have to specify the number of items that we want to write to the file. And then we have to provide the pointer to the file stream. And as the return value, this function returns the number of items it has successfully returned to the file. Now let us see how we can use this function so you can understand it completely. Now here, what I have done is I have created a file pointer called as fp, and I will open up this file called as numberbinary.bin, and I will open it up in binary form. Now in the previous tutorial, I have discussed about the difference between opening a file in text mode and binary mode. So when we open up the file in binary mode in Windows operating system, the C runtime will not perform the automatic conversions which it does with the text files. Now again, if you don't know what I'm talking about, then please watch my previous tutorial. And after that, we are checking whether the file has been opened successfully or not. If there is an issue, then we are displaying the error message and we are closing the program. And after that, what we do is we will use this fwrite function in order to write some binary data to the file. This tutorial will be a simple one. Here we will write the data of an integer variable to the file. So I will create an integer variable and I will call it as x, and I will store a value of, let us say, 65 in this variable. And then what we do here is we will use the fwrite function, and then we will write the value of this variable x in binary form. So the function name is fwrite, and as the first argument, we have to specify where does the data that we want to write is present. So it is present in this variable x. We know that this x is just a name which is pointing to a memory where this data 65 is stored in the binary form. In order to point to the data that we want to write to the file, we have to get the address of this variable x, and then we have to specify the size of one item in bytes. So since this is a variable of type integer, I can use the size of operator in here, and I can get the size of this variable x. It is of type integer, so I can use the integer data type in here. And then we have to specify how many values that we want to write. In this example, we want to write only one value, so I will specify 1. And after that, we have to provide the pointer to the file to which we want to write the data. So it will be fp. So now this function will write the data to the file. Now, in order to check for the return value, what I will do is I will store this return value in a separate variable. So we know that the return value is of type size underscore t, and we're gonna say result equal to, and then the return value from this fwrite function. So here, finally, what we do is we will use the printf function and we will display the return value. So it will be printf, and here I'm gonna say result equal to, and since it is of type size t, which is a type defined for unsigned long, we can use the format specifier %zu, and here we will refer the result variable. Okay, so now I will save this program and then I will run this. Now in this terminal, we get result equal to 1, and then it will say data returned successfully. Now the result equal to 1 here because it has successfully returned one item to the file. Now what we do is we will open up the file. So the name of the file is number_binary.bin, and let us see whether we can see the content here or not. So when I try to open up that file, it says the file is not displayed in the text editor because it is either binary or uses an unsupported text encoding. Now this text editor that we are using, it tries to display the data in text form. But if I say open it anyway, then it will ask me, do you want to interpret this file as a text editor? Then yes. So the one thing that we can see is it has written 4 bytes of memory because we have A and then null, null, null. And here, this text editor is interpreting the data that is written in the file as A. Why? Because I have written the value 65 in this file. If you remember, when we work with the characters, depending on the encoding standard, a numeric value is assigned for that character. So this text editor is reading 65, which is written by this fwrite function in binary form to the file, and it is trying to interpret that, and it is saying it is capital A. But what we have written to the file is 65. So 65 is the numeric code for the capital A, and that's why it is interpreting that 65 as capital A here. Now about this, I will talk about that later, why the A is in the beginning and why it is not in the end. We will talk about that later. But right now, this file contains the data written in binary form, but this text editor is trying to read that as a text file. And that's why we get these values in here. Now the important thing here is this function has successfully written the data to the file in binary form, or exactly as it is stored in the computer memory. Now one thing that we can do here is we can check the result with the number of items that we have written to the file. If these two are same, that is the number of items that we wanted to write to the file is equal to the number of items this function has successfully written to the file. If both of them are equal, then it means that all the data that we wanted to write to the file has been successfully written by this fwrite, and we can use that information in order to say everything has been written to the file successfully. And another thing is, here we are opening the file in binary mode. So we are opening the file for writing and we are opening in binary mode, and that's why in Windows the C runtime will not perform any automatic conversions. So we can kind of say that we are safely writing the data to the file in binary form. So this is it guys for this particular video. If it is confusing, then please watch my previous video about opening the file in a text mode and binary mode, and then watch this video. I think it will help you to understand it very easily. Now in some other video, we will discuss about the difference between writing data to the file using fprintf and fwrite. So this is it guys for this particular video. Thank you for watching. If you like it, hit the like button. If you don't like it, hit the dislike button. If you have anything to say, write that in the comment box. For more tutorials, subscribe to the channel.